I have some sad words to say that the boys just finished with last night's episode.
Mm,
It was again another good episode, but there were certain things that I do have small little gripes with. But
interesting.
overall, it was another amazing episode, and I think this is after watching this whole season, I can with doubt say that The Boys is one of my new favorite shows right now. So yeah, I mean, should we
It
get into
was.
it?
Let's get into it. It was a
Yeah.
solid season, and I think that the finale did a good job, in my opinion. Um, the whole thing, a couple of things that happened in the previous episode were left as cliffhangers, and I like how they were kind of quickly resolved so that we can like move on with the story in this episode, in this final episode. It wasn't a whole thing of like, oh, how many people know that Homelander is Soldier Boy's son? It was like, okay, everyone knows. Like, let's
Yeah,
we all know, we're all on the same page. Let's move on so that we stuff can
Yeah.
happen.
Full steam
And
ahead.
full steam ahead. And then one of the other things with Annie telling Butcher about the Temp V, we're like, oh, how is Butcher gonna react with Huey and the Temp V? And that was at the beginning of the episode. It's like, hey, knock him out so that he doesn't take any more Temp V, which was an interesting solution, but a very Butcher solution, and it made sense. So I like how they kind of got us up to speed. They resolved a lot of the cliffhanger things in the previous episode, and they moved on. And I thought that was great.
yeah. I guess starting with these things going one by one. What do you guys thought about A Train and his brother just like kicking him out of his life? Because no lie, I felt really sad for A Train. Like especially since A Train was on his track record of kind of redeeming himself, and the person that he wanted
I
the most was just like,
He's
yeah.
it's not a totally like straight path to redemption though. Like A Train has done a lot of bad stuff and he's
Yeah.
still
yeah,
really like impressionable and kind of
yeah,
just like influenced by everything that's going on with Vought without really thinking like he knows personally why it can be bad for him because Homelander's strong and can kill him, but he like never really thinks about the big picture and like why Vought and heroism is problematic,
Hmm.
which is I think it's gonna be a rude awakening for A-Train. I still think he has a lot to learn as far as like waking up and just like figuring out these things for himself. I don't think he's done growing. So I think that needed to happen to him. I think every
Yeah.
bad thing
Yeah.
coming A-Train's way is all going to be better for his character development.
I
yeah.
absolutely agree. I'm low key not on this redeem A train. I'm like, this guy is so sad and sorry. And like, if they want to redeem him, fine. But I'm not really one that's like, oh, he's on this redemption thing. Let him like, welcome him back. Like, nah,
I,
he's a messed up person. I don't think
yeah.
he's even fully like on that path of redemption yet. I think he's still just the fact that he's still with the Deep and Ashley
Hmm.
Hmm.
cowering before Homelander after all that has happened. It's like, come on, man, like stand up. What is wrong with you? Like all the stuff that he's gone through and the betrayals that he's done. It's like, oh man. And he's still in it. I think that's what gets me. Is like he's still in it. He's not really. We haven't really seen him waver on his commitment to Homelander and to Vought, because that's where he feels he gets the most out of the situation, even though
Yeah.
everybody else around him hurts. And just like the way that his brother kicked him out in that moment, um, it made sense. It's like, yo, you got to see who he really is.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't want a murder in the house because he murdered Blue Hawk. But A Train has murdered a ton of people.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
thought
like
the same thing.
who he is. That's who he's been since episode one, has been like a murderer who literally doesn't care. So
Yeah,
it's
like if
like,
his
yo,
brother only knew like all
yes.
the real bad things that A Train
Yes.
does. So like yeah, I don't think A Train deserves to have like that kind of support from his brother if like he hasn't earned it, I guess. If he
Right.
if you cuz like his brother was mad about Blue Hawk. Imagine if he knew about like Popclaw and,
Yeah.
Robin,
Yeah.
who were both women. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
his bro was totally right. I don't hate the idea of a A-Train redemption. If done well, I'll take it. Like if it's, yeah,
If done well.
it could
If
be
done
great.
well.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess for me it was just I can understand the pain of like you're trying to like the guy you're trying to oppress is the guy who still is like shunning you out. But I get it. It's
yeah,
well deserved. I'm not saying he
yeah.
doesn't have any faults to it, and
I
hopefully
yeah,
it redeem his character in the future. That's the hope for that.
he's definitely the little brother in that relationship though. He does seem like really immature. So I don't know if he's like the youngest in the group. Maybe I don't know if I'm tripping if I thought I heard that, but like yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Again,
Yeah,
just
he's
a
younger.
long way to go. But speaking of A-Train, one of like my favorite moments from this episode was with A-Train when Homelander is sitting down with the Deep, A-Train, and Ashley, and Homelander's about to monologue, and he's like, "How could you kill your own kind?" And then there's this perfect quick pan to Black Noir's mask.
Yeah.
You can see like A-Train's like line of vision go to the mask, and then back to Homelander, like, "What? Like you just killed Black Noir?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the funniest thing.
Oh
That
Yeah.
was
man.
my favorite part.
Yeah. Going on that, how you guys feel about Homelander killing Noir?
I low key was expecting Noir to like stand back up because I'm like, we don't know the extent of his powers. Like, what if he could just take something like that? But I mean,
Yeah.
oh, maybe.
Uh, yeah. Do you guys think he went out too quick? Like, is that kind of, are you satisfied with that end for Black Noir? Because I don't know if I am.
To be honest, I'm not. I felt honestly I would have preferred him to get taken out by Soldier Boy, even though I wouldn't like that. But I feel like that's a better satisfying ending for him, especially because of his whole arc being built up to trying to attack Soldier Boy and then he gets killed by Homelander. I get it because from Homelander's standpoint, it's like this dude knew about his father and he didn't do anything about it for a whole long, and it's just kind of I can see why where Homelander's coming from, but it to me it's sort of disappointing, especially with all this build up and then he's just like they take him out like that. It's just kind of
Maybe
sad.
he's not really gone. Maybe he's
Yeah.
not really
The
gone.
way Homelander took him out too is like what I expect Homelander to do in every situation whenever he's having a one-on-one conversation with people. So I wasn't like super surprised, but like I
Yeah.
was disappointed. Just a little, because I don't know, Black Noir, what a tragic character, man. He never really got his flowers. He never really
I still think
had
there's
his
so
day in the sun
much-
at all.
I mean, I think there's so much left to be discovered about Black Noir and who he is, what his role and purpose was. So part of me is like, maybe this isn't the end of Black Noir, but at the same time, it's like I agree with you guys. Like, if this is how he's taken out, and this is like the last that we see of him, we don't like discover any backstory that involves Black Noir, then that'll kind of be disappointing for me.
Maybe they'll give him Blue Hawk's intestines,
Maybe they will.
bring him back.
Yeah, yeah. Another betrayal that we all kind of saw coming, but the question was who was going to betray who. Was Soldier Boy betraying Homelander? And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like this moment. I just the way even the writing where he said something like, "If only you weren't such a pussy," I was just like, "Wow, that's such a perfect for that kind of character
Yeah.
moment for him to say that." It's like in his eyes, Homelander's just some whiny kid. Like everyone else sees him as a maniac, but for him, it's like this is some whiny kid who's didn't get trained right, and he would have trained him. But yeah, how you guys feel about that betrayal in general?
Um, at the time, I thought it was kind of interesting because, Soldier Boy, like little sad story, little sob story about like, oh, wham, my father, like he said I
Yeah.
was a disappointment. Turns around, calls Homelander a disappointment. So I'm like, what? Which is this like
I
father like
mean,
son, right?
Yeah, these
Everyone
characters
is
are defined by their
Yeah.
hypocrisy.
hypocrisy, pot calling the kettle black. And it's just also just exemplifies just like these heroes have like zero self-awareness. Like it's just how could these guys be real? And it just has to be because they're just surrounded by like people that are like yes anding them and just like giving them whatever they want. So I think that was actually a character defining moment for Soldier Boy. So I'll take it. So I don't know. What do you think, OC?
I think that I agree with you. The whole hypocrisy of that moment was apparent, and I think it makes sense, like just in terms of who this character is, who we've seen him to be. Dean is such a or Dean
Jen Ackles.
Jensen Ackles is such a
did that on
perfect
purpose.
actor to portray this
Yes,
character.
exactly.
And I love seeing him deliver those lines. It's
Yeah, I know, me
perfect.
too. It was that moment when I realized this was one of my favorite shows of all time. Because the way it
Yeah.
came off, it was very comedic, but also very sad at the same time. It's like Homelander this whole time just wants approval, and from his father is just looking at him like, "You sorry son of a gun. I don't even want to be with you." And it's just, it was a perfect moment. But one thing I didn't like that, and I can understand why it happened, but this is sort of another issue I had, was like what happened with Butcher. Because I understand why Butcher would get upset with Ryan, but he went from, instead of even reasoning with Homelander, he went from attacking Homelander, which was like, it seemed like I don't like in shows where
You mean Soulja
characters.
Boy?
You mean
Yeah, Soldier Boy. Sorry, Soldier Boy. There we go. Thank you. I don't like in shows where it's like a character, like characters one track with this one plan, and then something goes wrong, and all of a sudden he's going against the person. Like 180 is just completely changed. I like
Yeah.
more of a like, not like a long development, but a more of a like, maybe there's more of a wavering, and then this was like the camel that stroked the
Yeah.
back kind of thing, and I didn't get that much with Butcher with this whole Soldier Boy thing.
Fair
No,
enough, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
So for it to
absolutely. I
happen
feel like
like
everyone's
that,
time
yeah.
was wasted.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, and then Maeve, like all that stuff happened for nothing. Like, you know, I
Yeah.
get that. They're like kind of, I don't know, establishing Butcher to be this real like berserker character now, kind of a headlong combatant that's just like, I don't know. He's always kind of been like ruled by emotion though, right? His whole
Yeah.
sole purpose for being in the boys is like revenge on Homelander for his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. In this instance, I guess it kind of fits for his character, but yeah, it is frustrating to see
Yeah.
something like that happen. I definitely like kind of rolled my eyes. So I was like, oh, okay, well now this is happening and nothing's going according to plan.
Yeah.
And at the end of it all, it kind of not necessarily was resolved, but things ended with like a nice little bow on them with like, you know, like Maeve saved everyone and Soldier Boy is back in a tube and now there's like new stuff happening. And I don't know, you know, we can talk about that in a bit, but yeah, how did you guys feel about, I guess, that whole Butcher Soldier Boy situation?
I mean, sorry, there's so much because we have the Butcher and Soldier Boy and Butcher's fight with Soldier Boy, May versus Homelander. Then
Yeah.
the boys come in later on. As far as the fight, this is something that I kind of, and this is another kind of issue that I have with the show, is like power levels kind of a thing. Because I feel like Soldier Boy could easily kill Butcher, but it just seems like he was delaying it. And then May versus Homelander, like, I don't know. Sometimes when I look at fights like that, it's like, can't they just all go like I don't know if they're not fighting fast enough, because sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, can't they just go knock each other out pretty fast or whatever kind of thing? Like stuff
Yeah.
like that was a little bit
You're
confusing.
expecting some like Man of Steel type stuff.
Maybe not even just
They're
Man
just
of
going
Steel.
crazy.
Yeah, maybe it's Man of Steel, but you get my point. It kind of reminds me
Yeah.
one gripe we had with last season with Stormfront, where it's like Stormfront could just easily kill these people, but she's like taking her time, beating them up, you know, kind of that kind of
Oh yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah.
where it's
Okay.
like it's
Yeah.
kind of like that same feeling with
Yeah.
that. So that's something I kind of had, and then
Yeah,
I
and
did-
then like Starlight at her most powerful just like knocked Soldier Boy down after all that charge.
I know.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
expecting something crazy to happen.
Yeah,
and
like
it
he
didn't
actually
really
dies.
happen. yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess
It's-
that's cool.
Yeah, I think there is some just like discrepancies there with like how like I was actually even surprised that Maeve could hold her own that much against Homelander. She was a lot stronger than I had ever really expected.
That's
too.
true.
And maybe that's
true.
because similar to Homelander, we haven't really seen any of them like fight in an all-out brawl.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first time we seen it, and I don't know, maybe that's just like one thing they haven't really like fully established, because I know it's just like a story and character focused show. Maybe that's something they can work on, is kind of establishing the powers a little better and getting some good fight choreo in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely for sure. But I do like I do like the idea that Maeve was the one who sacrificed or sort of sacrificed herself, quote unquote.
She's fine.
She's fine, yeah, but she has no more powers. So that's kind of the trade off for the whole situation. So I do kind of like that. Although it is, and I get it because Butcher took a lot of the temp V, so it makes sense why he would have side effects. I'm still kind of weirded out that Huey doesn't have any side effects. I still feel like he should have some sort of side effect from taking the V.
I think he
Yeah.
does. Like we saw a little bit of it with him leaking from his ear, earlier in the episode. We saw a little bit of it, so I don't think it's gonna be as extreme as Butcher's, who has like a year to live. Um, and so we'll see how that happens. I don't know how
Yeah.
much story is left in The Boys. And I know that they've deviated significantly from the established story, so I don't know how much story they have planned. But it's going to be interesting to see where the story goes. If there is, we know that there's another season after this. I don't know if there's going to be another season after that.
Yeah. It definitely, I remember when it was renewed, wasn't it renewed for 2 seasons at once? I definitely got the feeling from this
You might be right.
final
You might be right about
episode.
that.
Because now there's like, they've established some like new things that they have to be concerned about in the new season already.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
We have Vicky Newman as VP
Yeah, exactly.
America.
I
And
feel
like,
like
yeah.
no lie, I feel like the Vicky Newman thing is going to be social commentary for what's going on with Joe Biden and then whoever is the vice president. Like, I feel
Kamala
like,
Harris.
yeah, I feel like that's their commentary on that, but we'll see.
Yeah. They've established her as like, she's like kind of AOC of that universe from what I see, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
And then and Jensen Ackles is still, he could return as Soldier Boy. They didn't kill
This is
him.
true. This is true.
If they do it right, it should be cool to see. But yeah, I think they were trying to gauge maybe how popular he would be, but come on now, like
Everyone
everyone
loves
was
him.
gonna love. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone was
yeah.
gonna love him. We knew
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing we have to talk about is Ryan siding with Homelander. Like, that's a very interesting thing that happened within this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, how you guys feel about that?
I think that it makes sense. Just, he's a kid, he's impressionable. Of course,
Yeah.
he wants the love of his father, and Butcher trying to protect him basically sent him running towards in the opposite direction. So everything around it makes sense, and I just want to know how they develop this. We saw at the very end that Homelander kills a guy in the street
Exactly.
in front of people.
Yeah.
And we see the smile come on Ryan's face. And that was an interesting moment. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
this was the first time that like we had the moment with the girl who's committing suicide and like all of that stuff. But it's all kind of been hidden from the public. And this is the first time that he's just done something like that in
Exactly.
full view of everyone.
Exactly.
And the people are so stupid that they just cheer for him.
I don't think it's a matter of stupidity, although there is a lack of ignorance. I think it's a matter of him, because again, Homelander is supposed to represent authenticity, I think it fits to what he's representing today.
It fits, like, it makes sense to what he's representing and what his fans see him as. It's just
Exactly.
that the stupidity
Yeah,
is in the fact that they don't see the reality of like he doesn't care about any of you guys.
Yeah,
Like,
they're not
really.
thinking about the implications of like, well, like this could bring about martial law, and then who's
Exactly,
gonna
yeah.
decide who lives and who dies.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. They're
that
not
was like probably
yeah.
a guy with a family, and like no one thought about the horror of like
Yeah, but
that
to
could have
be
been me.
But to be fair, it was a supporter of what's it called, Starlight, which they already hated to begin
But
with.
it's like,
So
what if Starlight did that to somebody who one of them? It's like,
Yeah,
they're not really thinking about.
yeah, they're
all
not
of these
thinking
things.
about that. Like I'm not I can see why they would believe that. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't agree with it, but I can see, like, I mean, they're already those kinds of people who are like the Homelander
Yeah,
supporters,
I
Starlight
get it.
supporters. They're so
Yes.
jaded by the trauma and that
I get
these
it, yeah.
characters. So that's why I can.
I get the
I can look at-
mindset.
Yeah, I get the mindset. Yeah,
I just I
exactly.
don't, it is what it is. It's
It is what
it's
it is.
super
Yeah,
risky.
Yeah, 'cause it's gonna change the course of like how like law and like heroes can like treat people and like yeah, we're gonna have to like deal with that in the new season. So
Yeah.
Definitely. Hopefully,
Yeah.
there is something like that.
They keep
But,
figuring out new ways to kind of up the ante without going full force.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see.
it's really kind of just like the news.
The
Like
slow burn
new
to an
awful,
inevitable-
shocking things are happening
Yeah.
in The Boys and in real life. And I
real
think I said this in the last episode, but Eric Kripke just watches the news and he's like, "Wow, this writes itself." Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's probably.
Nope, that's true. That's true.
But yeah.
Alright.
There's any more final thoughts?
I'm excited for next season. Let's go. Yep. All right. If you have any thoughts, definitely leave them down in the comments below and we'll talk to you there. Otherwise, have a good day and peace.
Peace.